This is Professor Carpenter at Valencia College. Welcome to this lecture on the descriptive essay. Take a look at this lesson's objectives. Notice that, like the narrative essay, you'll be constructing a descriptive essay in phases: pre-writing, rough draft, peer review, and final draft. You'll also be reading and analyzing examples of descriptive writing in your text, 75 readings plus. Let's start with constructing the foundation of this type of essay by describing the characteristics of the descriptive essay. So what is a descriptive essay? It is an essay that describes something or someone by appealing to the reader's senses: sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste. Let's look at the blueprint we'll use for constructing a descriptive essay in this unit. This is the final descriptive essay rubric you should use to develop your essay. We'll discuss the criteria on this rubric you can use to plan and draft each section of your essay. You can find this rubric in the online area of this course. So here are the steps for constructing a descriptive essay. First, you'll select a subject. For this descriptive essay assignment, the one you'll do for this course, you'll select a photograph, painting, or drawing. This is a great opportunity to show creativity because you can select a piece of art that connects with you, your personal experience, your emotions and passions, and then you can write about it. So you can see that this is the first part of the rubric. You'll have a format of at least 5 paragraphs, 800 words. You'll select a photograph, drawing, or painting and attach it. And then you might be thinking about, well, where can I find examples? You can find examples of paintings, drawings, and photographs online at a variety of places. Museums across the world have online presence, and you can view galleries online. You can search museum collections such as the Metropolitan Museum of Art, for example, or the Louvre. There are numerous places to find photographs online. Time magazine has a collection, and if you have a favorite artist, search online for examples. You can also write about a piece of art you have created, or a friend or family member has created. So once you've selected your painting or drawing or photograph, the next step is to brainstorm details about the subject. Here's a strategy that will help you brainstorm, and you actually have a copy of this in your planning sheet. You'll use 5 columns on a piece of paper with each column labeled for one of the 5 senses. These include taste, touch, sight, sound, and a smell. This list will help you keep your thoughts straight when describing your essay. So, you can use descriptive words. So don't use vague words or generalities such as good, nice, bad, or beautiful. Be specific and use sensory descriptive words or adjectives. Provide sensory details. So take a look at some of these in the chart. Smells that are in the air, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, or sounds, traffic or honking horns. Sights, the sun scattered tiny diamonds across dew-covered grass as it peeked out from beyond the horizon. Think about texture in terms of touch. Taste, sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and tart. You're going to describe paintings, photographs, or drawings, so you might want to think about colors and the emotions, tastes, smells, sounds, touches, and sights associated with that color. Here are some senses that are associated with the color orange, for example. So step 3, once you've selected your subject and you've brainstormed, you'll develop a thesis statement. So what might be a thesis statement? That informs the reader who or what you're describing and what insight or meaning you've drawn from the subject. This is the dominant theme of your essay, so all your details will support it. So your focus in this descriptive essay assignment is on describing a painting. A potential thesis statement might be, let's look at this particular Monet painting. Monet's painting, Impression Sunrise, creates an environment of peaceful reflection. So all the sensory details you describe in the essay will describe sights, smells, textures, and sounds that support an environment of peaceful reflection. So take a look at this painting. Here's another example. In Club Night, George Bellows, who's the painter, Uses high contrast, shape, and line to capture the energy of the athletes and provide an evocative and sensational interpretation of the club scene. Now, as you describe a painting or a drawing or photograph, make sure to show, not tell. And what do we mean by that? Take a look at the difference here between telling the reader about the scene and showing them. So telling them about the scene would be something like, the empty room smelled stale and was devoid of furniture or floor covering. Now read the showing. Instead of telling them that the empty room smelled stale, how about the apartment smelled of old cooking odors, cabbage and mildew? And some of the sounds are sneakers squeak sharply against the scuffed wood floors. So notice that you should include details that appeal to at least 4 of the 5 senses in your description of the painting, drawing, or photograph in this essay assignment. This is where the details you've jotted down in your brainstorming chart will help. So this is also a screen capture excerpt from your rubric that you'll use to develop your particular descriptive essay. As you describe your painting, use at least one example of figurative language. This means using a simile, metaphor, or personification to describe a feature in the painting, drawing, or photograph. So what do we mean by that? Just a little bit of review. A simile is using the words such as like or as when comparing. For example, a ride to North Hutchinson Island is like a flight to a Caribbean getaway. A metaphor is implying a comparison between two things that are essentially different. So when you say something like life is a journey, or life is a game, life is a dance, life is a dream, that's using a metaphor. And here are some other examples of metaphors. Time is a thief. He has a heart of gold. His head was spinning with ideas. You notice these do not use like or as, but they are comparing. Personification, that's another example of figurative language. It's giving human characteristics to inanimate objects. So here's an example. The truck, covered with mud and love bugs, cried out for a wash. So we know the truck is an inanimate object. It can actually have human qualities like crying. So that's personification. So let's look at an example of how to analyze a painting for sensory details. So if you look at this painting by Van Gogh, what details can you see? Do you hear a noise, or does it bring up a memory involving sound? What does the scene taste like? Or something a taste might be associated with it. What can you touch, or what does this painting, the texture of this painting maybe think of? Does it seem bumpy, hard, or smooth? Then also think about the emotions. How does it make you feel when you look at this painting? Well, here are some potential sensory details some students have brainstormed in the past when looking at this painting. What do you see? Cool, dark colors, a night sky filled with swirling clouds and stars, a bright crescent moon, a church steeple in a village. You can see that here in the painting. The sky keeps the viewer's eyes moving about the painting, following the curves. Some sounds, calmness, maybe a rustle of trees or the wind. Smells might be the scent of trees or fresh air. You might touch trees or grass. It could make you feel peaceful or calm, or some other emotion. And you can also research facts about the painter or painting or the photographer when you select your painting or drawing or photograph. Here's background on Van Gogh that might provide insight into the meaning of the painting. So just a little bit of facts about Van Gogh. This painting was created in June of 1889 when Van Gogh was in a psychiatric hospital. And one interpretation is that the swirling brush strokes actually represent Van Gogh's churning state of mind and spirit, and finding light in the darkness of his own mind. One person who critiqued the painting said maybe perhaps the artist is in chaos but finds joy and hope. So let's look at a photograph now. If you look at this photograph, and this is a photograph called Migrant Mother by Dorothy Lang, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you taste? What do you smell? And what can you touch? And how does it make you feel when you look at this photograph? You can pause if you'd like and think about that. here's a sample thesis one writer wrote about this photograph. The photograph depicts a family suffering from extreme poverty, but it also demonstrates the determination of a mother to do her best to care for her children and endure through difficult times. So that's what that writer felt when she looked at that particular photograph, or he. And then all the sample supporting paragraphs supported that thesis, and the author also incorporated senses as well as figurative language. So everything supported that thesis of suffering from extreme poverty, but the mother doing her best to care for her children through difficult times. So as you write your own descriptive essay, you'll start with a brainstorming and planning sheet. That will be the first thing you do. This will help you organize the details of your essay. And you can see that there's a brainstorming chart here that will help you where you can jot down things that you, textures and tastes and sights and sounds and smells. You can also think about and brainstorm types of figurative language and answer some questions. So you'll complete that and turn that in. And after your brainstorming and planning sheet, you'll create a rough draft. You'll send that to your peer review, and I'll assign peer reviewers, and they'll look at it and fill out a peer review sheet and give you some feedback. And then you'll implement that feedback and create a final draft, and then finally reflect on the process of writing in a self-assessment. So this concludes this lecture on the descriptive essay. I look forward to seeing examples of the variety of photographs, paintings, and drawings you select and reading your descriptive essays.